Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In our last class, we talked about active constructions, and I gave you just a brief idea about passive constructions also. Let's start from the same point. Especially about passive constructions, what we talked about, how to change active constructions into passive. Well, what you do very simply, you change your subject into object. Subject of your active sentence, you change into object. Then you change object of the active sentence into subject. For example, Aroma bakes cakes. Aroma is a subject, it becomes object. Cakes is object and cakes becomes, the subject of your sentence. And after this, you use past participle. Please keep in mind, in passive constructions, we always use past form of the verb, past participle form of the verb. Now, these three things you do, for example, Aroma bakes cakes, cakes are baked. When I say cakes are baked, cakes was object, it became subject. Cakes. Cakes are plural, is MR. R will come, cakes are, past, participle, baked. Cakes are baked. Full stop. If you want to, talk about the agent still, then you can add by by, and then you can talk about the agent. Now, the whole sentence will go as cakes are baked by Aroma. Now, this will be your passive constructions. Once again, subject into object, object into subject, third form of the verb. If you want to show agent, use by and name that agent. Ali is painting his room. Room is being painted. If you want to show agent, apply by Ali. Now, let me give you very simply, what verb changes will be in your passive structures. The formula I have already given. Whatever is the subject, whatever is the object, of course, they'll, cross will be there. They'll change their places. Third form will be there. But there will be some, auxiliary verbs added to. Let's see what those helping verbs will be, in the passive situations, starting from, completed actions. The first was bakes. Present indefinite verb, bakes. You're going to use is, am, are as auxiliary verb. And of course, verb will be in its third form. Like bakes will be changed into is baked, am baked, or are baked. Like if it's paints, Ali paints, then is painted, am painted, are painted. This will be. So, first form of the verb, like bakes, into is baked, am baked, are baked. Past form of the verb, like Aroma baked cakes. This is past form of the verb, Aroma baked cakes. This past form of the verb, of course, it'll go in the past participle. What auxiliary will come with it? Was and were. Aroma baked cakes, cakes were baked by Aroma. So, past form of the verb is taking was and were as auxiliary. And present form of the verb is taking is, am, are as auxiliary. Now, you have seen present form is, am, are as auxiliary verb. And past form was and were as auxiliary verb. So, it will be bakes into is, am, are baked, and baked second form will be into was or were baked. Third was will. Aroma will bake. Very simply add be with it, will be baked. So, will and shall into will be, shall be. And go down to has and have, very simple, has been, have been. Has baked into has been, have been. Like Aroma has baked cakes will be cakes have been baked by Aroma. Go down to had, simply again add been with it. Had been. Go down to will have been. So you see, present form of the verb takes is, am, are plus third form as passive construction. Active is bakes, passive will be is baked, am baked, are baked. Active is baked, passive will be was and were baked. Active is will, passive will be baked. Active is has, passive will be has been baked. Active is had, passive is had been. Active is will have, passive will be will have been. The remaining things will be the same. Subject into object, object into subject. And if you want to show agent, apply by and show agent. Let's go down to Weiler's activity where action is incomplete or in the process of completion. Over there, we have Weiler is baking. If there is, am, are in your sentence, very simple, add being, B-E-I-N-G, you know, which is the present participle of the verb to be. Like Weiler is baking cakes, the sentence passive will be cakes are being baked. Cakes are being baked, means process is not complete, still in the process. And did you see that when I say is being baked, and I didn't mention, Weiler, cakes are being baked. I didn't mention Weiler because that is what actually we call passive sentences. The agent we hide, we hold. And stress automatically goes on to action. Like cakes are being baked. Well, by the way, who's baking them? Then you can say Weiler. Otherwise, there's no need to show agent in passive constructions. So, usually our passive sentences end at, the verb thing and no by and no agent. Well, if people ask, you can put, or if need be, you can put. Okay, let's come back, please. So, is, am, are into is being, am being, are being. And if the sentence has was and were, for example, Weiler was baking cakes. So, same way, cakes were being baked by, Weiler. If you go down to will be, same thing, will be being. Now, this is something really interesting. Here you're using be and being together. The cakes will be being baked by, Weiler. So, this is how we are making, passive constructions from active. One more and the last point about passive structures, that if there are, let's say, two objects, passive becomes little tricky. As we are changing object into subject, then there'll be a confusion actually which object to be changed into subject. Why? Because there are two objects. If you remember, in basic clause patterns, we studied one pattern which has direct and indirect objects. Like, I gifted my son a book. I gifted my son a book. Now, in this, son and book, both are objects. One is direct, another one is indirect. Of course, I gifted what? I didn't gift son. I gifted actually book. So, book becomes, as you of course know, book becomes your direct object. And between verb and direct object, we have indirect object. I gifted my son a book. Now, in this type of sentence, where you have two objects, and if I ask you change this sentence into, passive construction, the question will be, book should be changed into subject, or son should be changed into subject. Let's try the both. If I go by the book, so I'll say a book was gifted by me to my son, or a book was gifted, you know, to my son by me. I mean, it looks a little awkward, don't you think? Take the other one. My son was gifted a book by me. Now this looks, yes, correct. I mean, automatically you feel, yeah, this one is correct. My son was gifted a book. Not a book was gifted. My son was gifted a book by me. So this is, you know, something which should also keep in your mind when you change active into, you know, passives, how to do it. So that ends my previous lecture's remaining part, active and passive constructions. Going back to basic clause patterns. What actually we've done so far? What are basic clause patterns? What are the past, present, and future? How to describe the completed actions and incomplete actions? But still, we are talking about subject and predicate. I mean, if you see it carefully, still we are talking about the same basic clause patterns. In basic clause pattern, what actually is there? Subject is there, predicate is there. What is a predicate? Well, predicate is simple, verb and other verb completing elements. And verb can be past, so past construction can be present, future construction. And of course, some, you know, verb phrases show incomplete actions, and some verbs, you know, show completed action, but level is still the same. And what technically we call them? Kernel. K-E-R-N-E-L. The kernel of a sentence means subject and predicate. Kernel means what? The skeleton. Like you and me, you know, we have skeleton. But we have one more thing we call flesh. Right? So skeleton we have analyzed. Basic, the past, present, future, and the completed and incompleted actions. Now let's add flesh to this skeleton. Let's mount it. Flesh to this skeleton. How to, when I say let's add flesh to the skeleton, what I mean actually, it means let's add further meanings to the parts of this kernel. There is subject. There is verb in it. Subject can be in the form of noun also. Subject can be in the form of pronoun also. And then you have verbs therein. We can add further meanings to our kernel. This is what we call as expanding your sentence. Expanding your sentence. How you expand your sentence? Of course, if idea is, of course, like expanded one, you will be needing more than kernel to dress up your thoughts. So what are those elements, you know, which beef up your kernel? What are those elements? Well, there are four. Number one, we use adjectives to beef up our sentence. Adjective, if you remember, of course you should remember, adjective goes to what? It goes to the noun or pronoun, of course. So wherever you find noun or pronoun in your sentence, you can add adjective to convey more meanings. When you add adjective, actually, your meanings become rather more concrete, specific. You become rather more illustrative. Okay, number one. Number two, adverbs. In your kernel, you have verbs present. So you can add adverbs, you know, to your sentence. Number three, you can add, you know, like in technical writing, we at places feel like putting, rather we put brackets actually in technical writing. Like when we talk about someone's salary, or when we talk about some stat, for example, like GDP, for example, we talk about, and right after GDP thing, in brackets, we can give that figure to make stuff more concrete. This kind of adding we call a positive. This is number 3. So you can add adjectives to your kernel to expand your meanings. You can add adverbs to expand your meanings. You can add appositives to expand your meanings. Appositives are, as I mentioned, just like, information given in brackets. But in formal English, we put commas. We don't put brackets actually, we put comma. Inside the commas, we give, extra information. And that extra information, of course, describes, or gives further explanation to what actually it's being, given, or what actually it is modifying. And the last one is actually prepositional stuff. Prepositional phrases, for example. Prepositional phrases you can use to beef up your, kernel. Well, these 4 which I just named, adjectives, adverbs, appositives, and prepositions, these, or preposition phrases you call, these 4 actually are called modifiers. This is something important. With the help of modifiers, you expand the idea. You, from general, go down to specific. You become more descriptive, illustrative. And of course, you paint picture. Your meanings are more, I would say, as your, meanings are in your mind, the same meanings, exactly the same way you can convey, to your readers by adding these, 4 modifiers. As you studied in parts of speech, the role of adjectives. Adjectives are what? These are naming, these are, words which qualify, nouns. You can say these are value words for your nouns and pronouns. For example, if I say, this is a team, or I say, this is an aggressive team. Now, the word aggressive actually is an adjective which is further describing the quality of that team. So this aggressive becomes the modifier of your sentence. This is an adjective modifier. Well, modifier can come before noun or after the verb. For example, I said, this is an aggressive team. Aggressive is an adjective modifier. It is giving meaning to the noun. Team is a noun. It is giving further meanings to the team. This is an aggressive team. Or I can also say the same this way, the team is aggressive. Now here, if you analyze carefully, the team is aggressive. Now, is a verb and aggressive? The team is aggressive. Is your verb. Aggressive is again adjective. But this adjective does not go, of course, to this is. Rather, it goes back to the team. So it doesn't matter whether your adjective and your noun are, next to each other, or they are, apart from. Of course, they are going to, add meanings to each other. But be careful when you're constructing some longer sentences. There, like, this split adjective noun use may create confusion, in your reader's mind. So better your adjective and your nouns are closer to each other. Or you can say, make your modifiers closer to the words they are modifying. This is something really important for effective meanings. So this is adjective modifier number 1, which gives extra meanings to your nouns and pronouns. Modifier number 1. Modifier number 2, adverbs. What adverbs do actually? They add meanings to your verbs. Now, wherever you find verb in your sentence, wherever you find verb in your sentence, you can make that verb more specific and concrete by adding, adverb. And of course, adverbs are really tricky. I mean, why? Because there are different types. There are how adverbs. How means adverbs which describe manner. I mean, he walks slowly or he walks fast. So the slowly or fast both describe manner, the style of walk. They can be when, manner, when adverb. Now, what is when adverb? Means, adverbs describe time. So you can add time factor also, to your sentence to convey more meanings. I mean, now and then. Time actually, do it now. So now goes for the word do. Do is your verb, and now describes actually do, not yesterday, not tomorrow, not after some time, now. So now rather makes this doing more specific, rather limited, And then you have where adverbs. Where means, position, space. I mean, here or there. I mean, when you say sit here or sit there, come here, go there. No, this sit, come, go are your verbs, and here, there, and everywhere. Now, these three are what? These are adverbs which show what? They show, where factor, the place factor. Then, you have some frequency adverbs actually. They also describe how often. I mean, like when you say never, I never smoke. Now, this never is not for I actually. This never is for smoke. Never smoke. Or occasionally smoke. Or sometimes smoke. Often smoke. Seldom smoke. Rarely smoke. Usually smoke. Now, what? These are frequency. So what these adverbs do, they expand your idea. This is how you beef up. This is how you modify. And from general to specific. And to use the same language, this is how you're adding flesh to your kernel. Kernel is a simple structure, subject and, verb and verb completing elements. And these modifiers, they are further describing what is subject, what is verb completing elements. They are making them rather more specific, more concrete. Use them carefully. And purpose should be only one actually, to convey meanings more effectively and more meaningfully. Don't use these modifiers to show off. At times, people use these modifiers, especially adjectives, to, and the result is, their expression becomes so pompous. And of course, that pomposity becomes actually a wall between you and me. And this is how communication actually is impeded, meanings are impeded. So avoid. Intention should be, convey your message to your reader exact. The element of exactness, the element of concreteness, the element of completeness. That should be the motive behind using, these modifiers. Let's now go down to our third one, which is what? Appositives. Appositives are what? Well, as I told you before, they are just like, information put into brackets. Information put into brackets means, I can illustrate this with the help of one very simple example. When I say Muhammad Ali Jinnah was born in Karachi. Now, I can add here one bracket. I mean, I'm just giving you an idea of bracket. Of course, we'll be putting, two commas. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Now, I can further describe who was Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So I can say Muhammad Ali Jinnah, comma. Now, here I'm going to put what? Bracket information. information inside the commas. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father of Pakistan, was born in Karachi. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father of Pakistan. Now, the founding father of Pakistan, this is modifier. What is this modifier? This is a positive modifier. A positive modifier, modifying what? Modifying the subject of the sentence. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Well, you can use positives anywhere in the sentence, wherever, like, you know, they suitably go. Doesn't matter. But again, purpose should be effective and meaningful, you know, sentences. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah, a founding father of Pakistan, was born in Karachi. A founding father of Pakistan is the what? Is actually a positive of your sentence. We put in commas. Now, look here. You are using adjectives. You are using adverbs. Using appositives. What they're doing, they're adding meanings, further meanings to the kernel. If you remove them from your sentence, what will be left? Again, the same skeleton, the same kernel. So keep in mind, adding modifiers to your sentence or deleting modifiers from your sentence, this does not violate the sentence making rules or the patterns or the constructions what we have studied. They are only adding meanings to. So from general to specific, if you delete them, again you will be from specific to general back. Still your sentence will be there, right? Now, the fourth and the last modifier, that is prepositional phrase as a modifier. If you come back to the same sentence which I said, Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. Take a look at the sentence. Quaid-e-Azam was born in Karachi. Now, in Karachi is a prepositional phrase, and this is adding, you know, more meanings to Quaid-e-Azam's birth, born. Quaid-e-Azam was born, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was born in Karachi. Now, in Karachi is actually prepositional, you know, phrase as, you know, what we call this modifier. So wherever, like, any piece of information which you add to your sentence with the help of preposition will of course become, you know, a modifier. Now, if I give you a small, you know, sentence and see how many modifiers are inside this sentence or this idea, the actual idea will be that I was born, everybody was happy, my mother died. Now, these three sentences, look how a writer, by adding modifiers, makes so concrete, as if he's painting a picture of that very scene, you know, which was there, you know, at my, you know, birth and all, or at writer's birth. Like, three sentences. His birth, after birth, everybody was happy, and the bad thing happened was the mum died. Look how writer expresses this thing by adding modifiers. Like, on an evening. Now, see, he's starting his sentence on an evening. On is a preposition, so it becomes, again, a modifier. On an evening, in the later part of November. Again, in the later part of November. Again, it's a prepositional modifier. On an evening, in the later part of November. Two modifiers, meanings more concrete. On an evening, in the later part of November. I was oozed out from within the womb. From, prepositional, again modify. From within the womb of eternal world. Not just world, actually, eternal. Eternal is adjective modifier. On an evening, in the later part of November, I was oozed out from within the womb of eternal world. To this transitory one. Not just one, to this one, transitory one, as again modifier. which no doubt flickered smile on everybody's dry leaf face. Not just everybody's face, dry leaf face. Again, modifier. But it was destined to be all momentarily. Momentarily, again, adjective. Blended with a sheer contrast, not just contrast actually, sheer contrast, adjective, modifier. Blended with a sheer contrast of life and death. Life to me and to my mom, death. Now, once again, see the whole sentence. Idea is what? Someone was born, everybody was happy, the mom died. By using adjectives, by using adverbs, by using modifiers, by using positives, idea, he expanded and created a picture. And readers understand exactly the whole scene as if like, they were there watching with the help of their own eyes. Once again, see the sentence. On an evening in the later part of November, I was oozed out from within the womb of eternal world to this transitory one, which no doubt flickered smile on everybody's dry leaf face, but it was destined to be all momentarily blended with a sheer contrast of life and death. Life to me and to my mom, death. This is what actually the function of these, modifiers is. Modifiers help you create pictures. They illustrate ideas for your readers, but use them intelligently. Don't misuse them. If you misuse, the same adjectives gonna backfire. They will act then as a wall between yourself and your readers. Now, let's move towards final point of your today's lecture. That is about the types of your sentences. Before I move, take you towards types of sentences, let's again recapitulate what we've done so far in grammatical sentence. We have studied parts of speech, 8 parts of speech. We have talked about basic clause patterns. We have also talked about a sentence skeleton, subject and predicate, subject's definition and predicate's definition. We have talked about how to change the same kernel into present, past and future and describe completed actions and incompleted actions. We have also talked about how to change, active structures into passive structures and why we change from active, to passive, and what should we prefer in most circumstances. And then we talked about how to add flesh to your, skeleton of your, kernels by using, modifiers. And the caution thing was that use modifiers intelligently. Don't misuse them. Use them for meanings. Use them for effectiveness. Use them for concreteness. Use them for completeness. Don't misuse them. Don't play with your readers. Use them the way they can well understand your meanings. Now, the final point which I said, types of sentences. Well, we can divide our sentences into, let's say, 2 types. We call them structural type. From structure point of view, you can divide your, sentences, or the purpose, type. I mean to say, sentences, they have their structural types. When I say simple sentence, or if I say compound sentence, so this is the structural type. And of course, sentences perform some, they, of course, serve, some purpose also. I mean, writers, they express their feelings, they express information, facts and figures, they ask you, questions, so that you could, your mind could, like, the lights could be switched on, and you could, like, start functioning and start thinking, start pondering over the matters, like, he is or he has in his discussion. So let's discuss the both types. Let's start from the structural types. Sentences are classified into 4 structural types. We call them simple sentences. What are simple sentences? You have studied the basic clause patterns, or the tenses, what we call, these are your basic clause patterns, are simple sentences. Simple sentences, there is one subject, there is one predicate, and they convey one single idea, and they are independent, and they can stand alone. Simple sentences. Then you have second type, compound sentences. Third one is complex sentence, and the fourth one is compound complex. These are, our 4 types of sentences. When I say sentence type, it actually means that going from simple to combinations. I use the word compound. Compound means not 1, 2. I use the word complex, again, not 1, rather 2. I use the word compound complex, again, not 1, more than 1. So we are in sentence types. What actually we are doing, we are moving from simple to multiple. When I say simple, it means one clause. If you remember, in your last lectures, I talked about language rank scale. In language rank scale, I said alphabet into words, words into phrases, phrases into clauses, and clauses into sentences. If you remember, see, clauses into sentences, phrases into clause. Clause is what? One subject and one verb. Simple sentence. And then I said sentence. A sentence can consist of one clause or more than one clause. Means a sentence can be composed of one clause, mean S plus predicate, subject plus predicate, or more than one clause, maybe 2 clauses or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So sentence has one clause in itself, or it has more than one clauses. If it has one clause, we call it simple sentence. If it has more than one clauses, we call it multiple sentence. So this is how we call, sentence types. And then I used a few more, points that independent, and I use standalone. Now, independent means that there is subject, there is predicate, and subject and predicate together are conveying full-fledged, complete idea. They are not depending upon any other neighboring clause. So if they are conveying one full-fledged idea and they are independent, so can't we say they can stand alone? Let me give you an example. If I say, very, very simple example, very simple. Imran is a language teacher and his elder brother is a doctor. Now, these are two, this is one sentence, of course, starting from Imran going down to doctor. Imran is a language teacher and his brother, elder brother, is a doctor. Now, these two sentences, Imran is a language teacher, subject is there, predicate is there, and don't you think it's conveying full idea? Imran is a language teacher and his elder brother is a doctor. If I separate these two sentences, I remove A and the and from this, and I add full stop. Imran is a language teacher, full stop. Don't you think it's a complete idea? Yes? If your answer is yes, so can't this sentence stand alone? Yes, why not? Imran is a language teacher, full stops, can stand alone. The other part was Imran's elder brother is a doctor. Don't you think it's a complete? Oh yes. Can it stand alone? Of course, yes. So this is called like, complete idea. This is what we call independent idea. This is what we call can stand alone or not. One more example. If you work hard, you will pass. Now, I really need your attention here. If you work hard, you will pass. Now, again, these are two clauses. If you work hard, comma, you will pass. If you work hard, you will pass. Now, let's separate these two sentences. If you work hard, full stop, you will pass, full stop. You will pass, of course, is a complete idea. I will pass, you will pass, we will pass. It's a complete idea. Of course, it's an independent idea. It can stand alone. If I say, you will pass, you will say, thank you very much, sir. Or if you ask me, sir, you will pass, I'll say, oh, thank you, boy. Go back to the first sentence. If you work hard. When I say if you work hard, you know what happens? I say if you work hard. No, you're waiting. You're waiting. The teacher now will complete the idea. If you work hard, you'll say, okay, yes, fine. Then, if you work hard, then, come on, complete. This is what actually will be kind of, in your mind. Come on, go ahead, complete. If you work hard. I mean, translate in Urdu. Agar tum mehnat karoge. So you would say, sir, for God's sake, complete. On the other hand, tum pass ho jaoge, tum kamyab ho jaoge. So it would be kind of like now prayer for you, wishful thinking for you. You would say, oh, thank you very much. See, in this sentence, if you work hard, you will pass. One sentence can stand alone and another cannot. This is what actually I was talking about. Independent can stand alone. Dependent or subordinate cannot stand alone. Now come back. As I said, there are 4 types of sentences. Simple sentence, I told you, simple sentence is the one which gives you an independent idea and it can stand alone. It is based on one clause, one independent clause. Like, I love you, or you love me, we love this country, I'm your teacher, you are my student. These are what? These are simple sentences. They are giving complete ideas, they are independent, they can stand alone. Now, what is a compound sentence? Compound sentence means when we put 2 clauses together. Which 2 clauses? Now, ask me this question. Excuse me, sir, which 2 clauses? Both independent or one independent and one dependent? I would say compound sentence means when you put 2 independent clauses together. If you know the sentence which I gave you, that Imran is a teacher and his brother is a doctor, 2 clauses. And they are joined with the help of the word and. Imran is a doctor and. This and is a link between these 2 clauses. Sort of a glue which, sticks these 2 together. So compound sentence, my dear students, is the one which is... now, by the way, this is minimum thing. There can be more than 2. There can be more than 3. There can be more than 4. Doesn't matter. All will be independent. Connected with each other with the help of some linking words like and. So, compound sentences are composed of 2 or more than 2 clauses linked with the help of comma and a linking word or a semicolon. The example which I have already given you, the one which I, very simple, that Imran is a language teacher and his brother is a doctor. So here, if I tell you the construction, Imran is a language teacher, we put comma. Then we put a linking word and then the second clause. Now, there are different linking verbs, linking words actually, which we use to construct, compound sentences. This is something important to, understand. The first we call as coordinating conjunctions. You have studied in your parts of speech conjunction as an important part of speech. Now, there are three, I would give you linking words, which we use to connect compound sentences. Number one, coordinating conjunctions. And very interesting, we have a word which is actually a mnemonic, fanboys. Now, fanboys, by each alphabet, we mean something. Like, for example, fan, for. Now, for is a linking word. It's a coordinating conjunction. A for and, for, and. N for nor. B for but. O for or. Y for yet. S for so. So these are, these fanboys we call coordinating conjunctions. You can use these to link your, two independent clauses to make compound sentences. Like the one I already, have given you example, connecting two clauses with the help of and. To give you another, example, like one arrow is easily broken, but you can't break a bundle of 10. Now, see in this sentence, one arrow is easily broken, is independent clause, then I put comma, and I put but. You can't break a bundle of 10. Now, this is your compound sentence. Now, second type of linking, words which we use, we call them correlative conjunctions. Now, correlative conjunctions actually we use in pairs. If you remember, we use both and. Is both this and this, Now, this kind of, pair, pair of words, using as a link to combine, two clauses. I can give you some more examples, like the one, but and an. I mean, in one, there are two ideas, of course, two relevant ideas, or you can say two parts of the same idea. So one part you'll convey with but, or link with but, and the second part with and. Like, not, but. He is not a doctor, but a language teacher. Not only, but also. Neither, nor, either, or. These linking words we use in pairs to connect two independent clauses in a compound sentence. And the third one is conjunctive adverb, which we also sometimes we call them transition words also. They take you vertically from one idea to your last idea, like words like however, nevertheless, therefore, consequently, then, otherwise. Now, these words, we also use to connect, ideas in a compound sentence. So, dear students, you really need to do practice, here at this point. First, know the use of three different types of linking words for compound sentences, because it's, look, in simple we don't have any link. Simply you need to know the patterns. But in compound sentences, and we haven't studied complex, but just to give you an idea, in complex we have just a few. I can count, on my tips that these are like, linking words for complex sentences. The real difficulty is with the compound sentences. Why? There's a huge range of, linking words. Confusing also. Like fanboys, then, correlative conjunctions, then conjunctive adverbs. There are many. So you really need to learn them one by one. See how they are used actually. Check my notes, handouts, browse some books also and see. You can of course browse websites as well and see how each one of these is used and what function it performs. Like you should know what's the function of however in a sentence. How however links two sentences, and when we use however to make a compound sentence, how however affects the previous sentence. I mean, if I give you one more example, you would see how these linking words convey ideas. Private vehicles play a key role in our lives. They provide independent transport, freedom, and many jobs. Third sentence is, they cause pollution, traffic jam, and blah, blah, blah. Now, these three sentences I've given you, if you see it very carefully, in the first sentence I used the word, what word I used? In the first sentence I used key role. In the second sentence, I talked about the examples of that key word. So I can put here as, private vehicles play a key role in our lives as they provide independent transport and, In the next sentence, what I did actually, I started talking, in the previous sentence, benefits I'm talking about. In my next sentence, I started talking about the drawbacks of private vehicles. What? Traffic jam, noise pollution, air pollution. Don't you think it's a contrast to what discussed before? If it's a contrast, then we use the word however. So however is a link which we use to construct a compound sentence, and it shows contrast. That's why I'm saying you really need to, know these in details. Please go back to the handouts and, learn them. Let's move now towards our third as second last sentence type, and we call it complex sentence. Please keep in mind, complex sentence is the one in which there is one independent idea and one dependent idea. Simple example I'll give you, clear the concept, and then of course study it more through the handouts. Like if I say, if you work hard, you will pass. Now, you will pass is independent idea. I've already explained you before. If you work hard is a dependent idea. Excuse me, if I say, you will pass, you can ask me this question, excuse me, how? I say, if you work hard. So, if you work hard becomes the condition, and then you will pass, pass becomes your result. So, complex sentences are linked this way, that one is independent, second is dependent. Dependent we also call as subordinate. They say that if ideas are equal, now this point is very important to know, if ideas are equal, construct compound sentences. If ideas are not equal, construct complex sentences. Unequal, when we say, it means one is dependent, one is independent. The last of the sentence types, which is what? Compound complex. Now, compound complex means that two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Compound complex, why we call it? Because it contains the features of complex also and compound also. And compound's definition is what? Two independent. Complex is what? One independent and one dependent. So two independent, add one dependent, it becomes compound complex. One beautiful example of compound complex sentence is, tell me what you eat, I'll tell you what you are. Now, if you see, tell me what you eat. Now, tell me is complete idea. What you eat is dependent. So, tell me what you eat. And the second part is, I'll tell you what you are. I'll tell you complete. What you are, dependent. So, in this sentence, there were two independent and two dependent ideas. So, it's more than, compound, and it's more than complex. That's why we call it, it's a compound complex sentence. Stat speaking, and just winding it up the whole discussion, stat speaking is simple sentence. If I assign one as simple, one goes to simple, then compound two, simple sentence means, 1 plus 1, okay? And complex sentence is what? 1.5. Why I call it 1.5? Because 1 goes for independent and 0.5 goes for dependent. And if I say compound complex, the definition of compound complex is what? At least 2 independent and at least 1 dependent. So 2.5. Simple sentence 1, compound sentence 2, because there are 2 independent clauses, and complex sentence 1.5. 1 independent, 0.5 goes for dependent clause, and compound complex 2 independent and at least 1 dependent, so 2.5. That is the stat of it. This is the end of our structural sentence types, and I'll just spend 5-6 minutes more in my next lecture along with new topic, discussing with you the types of sentences with respect to their purpose. I hope you like this session also, but I hope that you will go down to your your handouts, your books, and will spend quite a lot time in understanding the sentence types, because they're very, very important, extremely important, and they'll make your way towards very, very effective and meaningful paragraph making, and finally, going towards text and discourse. I hope you will do it definitely. With this, I'll simply say bye-bye and take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.